The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with activity. Beings from 1,000 worlds filled the room, their diverse forms a testament to the vastness of the galaxy. Some floated on anti-gravity platforms, others slithered across the polished floor, and a few even phased in and out of reality. At the center of it all stood the massive holographic display, showing the latest crisis facing the galaxy. High Counselor Zixnera, a tall, willowy creature with shimmering blue skin, called the meeting to order. Her voice, amplified by the chamber's acoustics, silenced the chatter. Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, she began, her 4 eyes blinking in sequence, we face a new challenge. The humans of Earth have petitioned for full membership in our august body. A chorus of laughter erupted from the assembly. Councillor Grook, a bulbous green entity, wheezed through his breathing apparatus. The humans, those primitive apes who've barely left their own solar system. Indeed, Zixnera confirmed, her tone neutral. They claim to have made significant technological advancements in recent years. The holographic display shifted, showing images of Earth and its rudimentary space stations. Many council members leaned forward, curiosity piqued despite their skepticism. Councillor Vex, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline shell, spoke up. What could they possibly offer us? Their weapons are laughably primitive. Projectile launchers and chemical explosives. We've moved beyond such crude tools millennia ago. More laughter filled the chamber. The display now showed human military equipment, tanks, fighter jets, and aircraft carriers. Observe their pitiful attempts at space warfare, sneered Councillor Drac, a reptilian creature with scales that changed color with his mood. Currently, they were a mocking shade of orange. They still rely on rocket propulsion and radio waves for communication. It's like watching infants play with blocks. Zixnera raised a slender hand for silence. While their technology may seem quaint to us, we must remember that every species starts somewhere. The humans have shown remarkable progress in a short time. Progress, scoffed Grook. They're still killing each other over arbitrary borders on their own planet. How can they possibly be ready for galactic politics? The chamber erupted in agreement, with various counselors sharing their own observations of human shortcomings. They haven't even achieved universal peace on their world. Their understanding of quantum mechanics is laughable at best. I heard they still use fossil fuels. Can you believe it? Zixnera let the comments flow, her face impassive. When the noise died down, she spoke again. Nevertheless, we have agreed to hear their petition. As per our laws, we must give them a fair chance to present their case. Grumbles of reluctant agreement rippled through the assembly. Who will they send as their representative? Vex asked, his crystalline form pulsing with curiosity. Zixnera consulted a datapad. They have chosen a military officer named Sarah Chen. Apparently, she's a decorated veteran of their global conflicts. This announcement was met with more derision. A soldier? Drac exclaimed. They send a warmonger to a peace council. Typical human thinking. As the council continued to mock and belittle the humans' efforts, a small group of observers watched from the shadows. These were the Watchers, an ancient race known for their wisdom and foresight. They exchanged knowing glances, their eyes glowing with an inner light. One Watcher leaned close to another and whispered, "They mock what they do not understand. The humans have potential they cannot see." His companion nodded sagely. Indeed, the Council's arrogance blinds them. They forget that their own races were once as the humans are now. Should we intervene? Asked a third Watcher. The first shook his head. No, we must let events unfold as they will. The humans will prove themselves, or they will fail. Either way, the galaxy will learn a valuable lesson. As the council meeting drew to a close, the decision was made to allow the human representative to present Earth's case, but it was clear from the smirks and dismissive gestures that few took the prospect seriously. Little did they know that events were already in motion that would shake the very foundations of their galactic order. The humans, underestimated and mocked, were about to change everything. Major Sarah Chen stood before the mirror in her quarters aboard the Earth ship Horizon. She adjusted her crisp blue uniform, making sure every medal and insignia was perfectly aligned. Her dark eyes reflected a mix of determination and nervousness. "You can do this, Sarah," she whispered to herself. "The fate of Earth depends on you." A soft chime interrupted her thoughts. "Major Chen," came a voice over the intercom. "We're approaching the Galactic Council station. ETA 10 minutes. "Thank you, Captain," she replied, taking a deep breath. "I'm on my way to the bridge." As Sarah walked through the corridors of the Horizon, crew members nodded respectfully. They all knew the importance of this mission. Earth's future in the galactic community hung in the balance. On the bridge, Captain Rodriguez greeted her with a salute. "Major, we're receiving docking instructions from the station. Are you ready for this?" Sarah nodded, her face set with resolve. "As ready as I'll ever be, Captain. Let's show these aliens what humanity is made of." The Horizon gracefully maneuvered into the massive docking bay of the Galactic Council station. Sarah marveled at the size and complexity of the structure. Ships of all shapes and sizes filled the bay, each representing a different alien species. As the airlock cycled open, Sarah took her first steps onto the station. She was immediately struck by the diversity of life forms around her. Creatures that defied her imagination moved about their business, barely sparing her a glance. An android approached her, its metallic body gleaming under the station's lights. "Major Chen of Earth," it inquired in a monotone voice. "I am XB7, your guide to the council chambers." Sarah nodded, following the android through winding corridors and vast halls. She couldn't help but feel small and insignificant among the advanced technology and alien beings. Finally, they arrived at the entrance to the council chambers. XB7 turned to her. "The council awaits you, Major Chen. Good luck." With that, the android glided away, leaving Sarah alone before the massive doors. Taking a deep breath, Sarah pushed the doors open and stepped into the chamber. The room fell silent as all eyes turned to her. She could feel the weight of their stares, some curious, others dismissive. High Counselor Zixnera's voice rang out. "Major Sarah Chen of Earth, you stand before the Galactic Council. State your case for Earth's inclusion in our ranks." Sarah stepped forward, her voice clear and strong. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, I come before you today to present Earth's petition for full membership. We may be young in galactic terms, but we have much to offer." A ripple of murmurs spread through the chamber. Councillor Grook's voice rose above the others. "And what exactly can your primitive species offer us? Your technology is centuries behind ours." Sarah refused to be intimidated. "With all due respect, Counselor, innovation isn't just about having the most advanced technology. It's about how you use what you have. Humans have a unique ability to think outside the box, to find solutions where others see only problems." She activated a holographic display, showing Earth's recent achievements. "In the past century alone, we've gone from our first powered flight to landing on our moon. We've developed renewable energy sources, made breakthroughs in medicine, and pushed the boundaries of our understanding of the universe." Counselor Vex interrupted, his crystalline form pulsing with skepticism. "Impressive for you, perhaps, but compared to the achievements of the council races, these are mere child's play." Sarah nodded, acknowledging the point. "You're right, Counselor. We have much to learn. But that's exactly why we're here. We don't just want to benefit from your knowledge. We want to contribute our unique perspective to the galactic community." She changed the display to show Earth's diverse ecosystems and cultures. "Our planet may be small, but it contains a wealth of biodiversity and cultural richness. We've learned to coexist with millions of other species, to adapt to every environment our world has to offer. This adaptability, this diversity of thought and experience, is what we bring to the table." The council members exchanged glances, some looking intrigued despite themselves. Sarah pressed on, her passion evident in every word. "We humans have a saying, unity in diversity. We believe that the greatest strength comes from bringing together different ideas, different ways of thinking. Isn't that what the Galactic Council itself represents? As Sarah continued her impassioned speech, the watchers observed from their hidden vantage point. One turned to the others, a hint of a smile on its ageless face. She speaks well, this human. Perhaps there is hope for them yet. Another watcher nodded slowly. Indeed. But the true test is yet to come. Words are easy. Actions are what will determine their fate. As the council listened to Sarah's presentation, none of them realized that far beyond the station, events were unfolding that would soon put humanity's words and their unconventional weapons to the ultimate test. As Major Sarah Chen concluded her presentation to the Galactic Council, an eerie silence fell over the chamber. The alien representatives exchanged glances, some thoughtful, others still skeptical. High Counselor Zixnera was about to speak when suddenly, the chamber's emergency alarms blared to life. Red lights flashed across the room as a holographic display materialized in the center of the chamber. It showed a massive fleet of unknown ships entering the galaxy's outer rim. "What's happening?" Sarah asked, her heart racing. Counselor Vex's crystalline form pulsed with alarm. "It's the Zarkons. They've returned." The chamber erupted into chaos. Counselors shouted over one another, fear evident in their voices. High Counselor Zixnera raised her hands, calling for order. "Silence," she commanded. The room quieted, all eyes on her. "We've long feared this day. The Zarkons, a race we banished millennia ago for their aggression, have returned to claim the galaxy." Sarah stepped forward, confusion clear on her face. "I don't understand. Who are the Zarkons?" Counselor Drac, his scales now a pale blue of fear, explained, "They are the most brutal warriors the galaxy has ever known. We thought we'd seen the last of them when we exiled them beyond the galactic rim." The holographic display zoomed in on one of the Zarkon ships. It was massive, easily dwarfing the largest vessels in the Council's fleet. Its hull was covered in weaponry, each cannon larger than an entire human spacecraft. A transmission cut through the Council's communications. A harsh, guttural voice filled the chamber. "Beings of the galaxy, we are the Zarkons. For too long, we have waited in the cold void beyond your borders. Now, we return to claim what is rightfully ours. Surrender your worlds, or face extinction." The message ended, leaving a chilling silence in its wake. High Counselor Zixnera turned to the assembly. "We must act quickly. Summon the combined fleets of all Council races. We will meet this threat head-on." As the counselors rushed to mobilize their forces, Sarah found herself pushed to the side. Forgotten in the panic, she approached Zixnera. "High Counselor, Earth stands ready to help. What can we do?" Zixnera looked down at Sarah, a mix of pity and dismissal in her eyes. "I appreciate your offer, Major Chen, but this is far beyond your capabilities. Your weapons would be useless against the Zarkons. It's best if you return to Earth and prepare your people. If we fail here, you'll need to be ready." Sarah opened her mouth to protest, but Counselor Grook interrupted. "Don't be foolish, human. This is a battle for real warriors, not primitives playing at war. Go home, while you still can." Frustrated but undeterred, Sarah returned to the Earth ship Horizon. As they prepared to depart, she watched the massive Council fleet assembling. Ships of all sizes and designs formed up, their weapons charged and ready. Captain Rodriguez stood beside her on the bridge. "Orders, Major." Sarah's jaw clenched as she watched the Zarkon fleet draw closer on the long-range scanners. "We're not running, Captain. Set a course for Earth, maximum speed. We need to prepare our defenses and alert the government. The galaxy's war is about to become our war too." As the Horizon sped away from the Council station, the first shots of the battle were fired. Energy beams lanced across space, and explosions blossomed in the silence of the void. From their hidden observation post, the watchers looked on with grave expressions. "It begins," one said solemnly. "The Zarkon's return will test not just the Council, but the humans as well." Another nodded. Indeed, the Council's arrogance may be their undoing. They dismissed the humans, not realizing that sometimes the most unlikely allies can turn the tide of war. The third Watcher's eyes gleamed with an inner light. Watch the humans closely. Their primitive ways may yet surprise us all. As the horizon raced towards Earth, Sarah stood at the viewport, her mind racing. She knew that humanity's first real test in the galactic community was coming, whether the Council wanted their help or not. The fate of not just Earth, but the entire galaxy hung in the balance. Little did the Council know that their dismissal of humanity would soon prove to be their greatest mistake, and Earth's unconventional tactics would become their last, best hope against the Zarkon threat. The vastness of space lit up with the flashes of weapon fire as the Galactic Council's fleet engaged the Zarkon invaders. At first, the Council forces fought with confidence, their advanced technology unleashing devastating attacks against the enemy. High Counselor Zixnera watched from the command center of the Council's flagship. Her 4 eyes blinked rapidly as she processed the incoming data. "Status report," she demanded. A holographic display showed the battle in real time. Counselor Vex's voice crackled over the comm system. "Our initial strikes have been effective. We've destroyed several of their smaller ships." For a moment, hope surged through the Council forces, but that hope was short-lived. Suddenly, the Zarkon fleet shifted formation. Their massive ships moved with surprising speed, opening up to reveal hidden weapon ports. Before the Council fleet could react, a barrage of energy beams unlike anything they had ever seen lanced out. The results were catastrophic. Council ships, some of the most advanced in the galaxy, were cut in half as if they were made of paper. Shields that had withstood the test of time for centuries crumbled in seconds. Zixnera watched in horror as ship after ship winked out of existence on her display. This is impossible," she gasped. Counselor Drax's voice, usually so confident, now trembled with fear. "Their weapons, they're beyond anything we've encountered. Our defenses are useless." As the battle raged on, the Earth ship horizon raced towards home. Major Sarah Chen paced the bridge, her mind racing. The ship's long-range sensors were picking up the devastation occurring light years away. "Captain Rodriguez," she said, her voice tight with tension, "increase speed. We need to reach Earth as soon as possible." Rodriguez nodded grimly. "Yes, Major. But even at maximum speed, it will take us days to reach home." Sarah clenched her fists. "Then we use that time wisely. Contact Earth. We need to mobilize everything we have." As the horizon streaked through space, the situation for the Council forces grew dire. The Zarkons pressed their advantage, their superior weapons and tactics pushing the defenders back. In the Council's emergency bunker, deep within their home station, the remaining leaders gathered. Their faces were ashen, their earlier arrogance replaced by desperation. "We've lost half our fleet," Counselor Grook reported, his usual bluster gone. "The Zarkons are advancing on our core worlds. Our defenses are falling one by one." High Counselor Zixnera, her blue skin pale with stress, looked around the room. We need help. Are there any forces we haven't committed yet?" A heavy silence fell over the room. Then, hesitantly, Counselor Vex spoke up. "There is one option we haven't considered." All eyes turned to him. "The humans," he said softly. Disbelief and scorn flashed across several faces, but desperation quickly replaced it. Zixnera leaned forward. "Explain." Vex's crystalline form pulsed as he spoke. "We dismissed them too quickly. Their weapons may be primitive by our standards, but they're also unknown to the Zarkons, and the humans have a reputation for unconventional tactics." Counselor Drax, his scales a sickly green, scoffed. "You can't be serious. What could those apes possibly do against an enemy that's defeating us?" At this point, Zixnera said quietly, "Do we have any other choice?" The room fell silent again as the reality of their situation sank in. Finally, Zixnera straightened. "Decision made. Send a message to Earth. Tell them we need their help." As the message was sent, racing across space towards Earth, the Watchers observed from their hidden vantage point. "And so the tide begins to turn," one Watcher mused. Another nodded sagely. "The Council learns humility, while humanity will soon have its chance to prove its worth." "But will it be enough?" the third Watcher asked. "The Zarkons are formidable foes." The first Watcher's eyes gleamed. "That, my friends, is what we are here to see. The humans have surprised us before. Let us watch and see what unexpected strengths they bring to this fight." As the Council's desperate plea for help sped towards Earth, Major Sarah Chen and her crew were already preparing for the battle to come. Little did they know that the fate of the galaxy would soon rest in humanity's hands, and their primitive weapons were about to change the course of the war. The Earth ship Horizon burst out of hyperspace near the moon, its hull gleaming in the sunlight. On the bridge, Major Sarah Chen's eyes widened as she took in the scene before her. Earth's orbit was filled with ships of all sizes, a hastily assembled fleet of everything humanity could muster. "My God," Captain Rodriguez whispered beside her. "They really did it. They'd mobilized everything." Sarah nodded, a mix of pride and determination on her face, and not a moment too soon. "The Council's message arrived just after we did." As the Horizon docked with the command station, Sarah was rushed into a high-level briefing. The room was filled with military leaders, scientists, and government officials from around the world. General Zhang, the head of Earth's defense force, stood at the front. "Major Chen, your report was disturbing, but it's given us time to prepare. Now we have a plan." He activated a holographic display showing Earth's fleet. "We've equipped our ships with experimental weapons we've been developing. Railguns capable of accelerating projectiles to near-light speeds, plasma torpedoes that can bypass most known shielding technologies, and our ace in the hole, adaptive AI systems that can analyze and counter enemy tactics in real time." Sarah's eyes widened. "But sir, the Council, they said our weapons were primitive." A scientist stepped forward, a glint in her eye. "Sometimes, Major, being primitive has its advantages. The Zarkons won't know what hit them." As Earth's fleet prepared to depart, the Galactic Council watched anxiously from their battered defenses. High Counselor Zixnera's voice was tight with stress as she addressed her fellow council members. "The humans are on their way. May the stars have mercy on us all if this fails." Counselor Grook scoffed, though his usual bravado was muted. "What can they possibly do that we couldn't?" Before anyone could respond, alarms blared. The Zarkons had broken through the outer defenses and were advancing on the Council's core worlds. Just as all seemed lost, space itself seemed to ripple. The human fleet emerged from hyperspace, their ships small compared to the massive Zarkon vessels, but numerous and quick. On the bridge of the lead ship, now renamed Defiance, Sarah Chen stood tall. "All ships, execute Battle Plan Alpha. Show these Zarkons what humanity can do." The human fleet sprang into action. Smaller, nimble craft darted between the lumbering Zarkon ships, drawing their fire. Then the larger Earth vessels opened up with their railguns. Projectiles moving at near-light speed slammed into the Zarkon ships. Their advanced shields, designed to stop energy weapons, were useless against these kinetic impacts. Holes were punched clean through their hulls. The Zarkons, caught off guard, attempted to regroup. But as they did, the humans unleashed their plasma torpedoes. The superheated plasma slipped through shield gaps, melting through armor and circuitry. In the Council's command center, jaws dropped in disbelief. Counselor Vex's crystalline form pulsed rapidly. "Impossible. They're actually hurting the Zarkons." High Counselor Zixnera leaned forward, her four eyes wide. "How? Their weapons seemed so basic." On the Defiance, Sarah watched as the AI tactical systems adapted in real time. "They're learning," she murmured, "predicting the Zarkons' moves before they make them." The battle raged on. While the Zarkons still had superior firepower, they found themselves constantly outmaneuvered. Human ships darted in and out, striking weak points with surgical precision. A massive Zarkon battleship, easily 10 times the size of the largest human vessel, bore down on the Defiance. Sarah gritted her teeth. All power to forward shields. Prepare the main gun. The Defiance's spinal-mounted railgun, running the entire length of the ship, began to glow with energy. As the Zarkon ship prepared to fire, the Defiance struck first. A projectile the size of a small car, accelerated to 99% the speed of light, lanced out. It struck the Zarkon ship dead center, punching through shields, armor, and out the other side. The massive vessel split in two, secondary explosions ripping it apart. A cheer went up across the human fleet. For the first time since the invasion began, the Zarkons were on the defensive. In their hidden observation post, the watchers observed with keen interest. Fascinating, one said. The humans' primitive approach has proven unexpectedly effective. Another nodded. Indeed, sometimes the old ways can surprise even the most advanced foes. The battle is far from over, the third cautioned. But the humans have certainly changed the game. As the tide of battle began to turn, both the Galactic Council and the Zarkons were forced to reassess their views on humanity. The species they had dismissed as primitive was proving to be anything but, and the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. The battle raged across the star system, a dance of destruction and survival. Human ships darted between the massive Zarkon vessels, their unconventional weapons leaving trails of devastation. But the Zarkons were far from defeated. Their flagship, a behemoth that dwarfed even their largest battleships, remained untouched at the heart of their fleet. On the bridge of the Defiance, Major Sarah Chen studied the tactical display. Her eyes narrowed as she noticed a pattern in the Zarkons' movements. "They're protecting something," she muttered. Then, louder, "Captain Rodriguez, focus our scans on that flagship. There's got to be a reason they're so desperate to keep us away from it." As the Defiance's sensors probed the massive ship, Sarah's hunch proved correct. "Sir," a technician called out, "we're detecting an enormous energy signature at the core of that ship. It's like nothing we've ever seen before." Sarah's mind raced. That must be their secret weapon, the source of their advanced tech. She turned to Rodriguez. "We need to take that ship out, but our weapons can't penetrate their defenses at this range." A grim silence fell over the bridge. Then Sarah's eyes lit up with a dangerous idea. "Unless we bring the fight to them." She quickly outlined her plan to the crew. It was risky, bordering on suicide, but it might be their only chance to end this war. "I'll leave a small team to infiltrate that flagship," Sarah explained. "We'll use our adaptive AI to hack their systems and lower their defenses from the inside. Then, when I give the signal, hit them with everything we've got." Rodriguez looked at her with a mix of admiration and concern. "It's a hell of a risk, Major, but if anyone can pull it off, it's you." As Sarah prepared for the mission, selecting a team of Earth's best soldiers and tech experts, the Galactic Council watched the battle unfold with growing amazement. High Counselor Zixnera shook her head in disbelief. "These humans, they fight like nothing we've ever seen. So unpredictable, so innovative." Counselor Vex's crystalline form pulsed with excitement. "Perhaps we were too hasty in judging them. Their methods may be unorthodox, but they're undeniably effective." Even the skeptical Counselor Grook had to admit, "They've done more in a few hours than we managed in days of fighting. Maybe there's more to these primitives than we thought." Back on the Defiance, Sarah and her team boarded a specially modified shuttle. Its hull was coated with an experimental stealth material designed to slip past the Zarkon sensors. As they launched, Sarah addressed her team. "This won't be easy. We're going into the heart of enemy territory. But remember, the fate of not just Earth, but the entire galaxy rests on this mission. We can't fail." The shuttle weaved through the chaos of battle, narrowly avoiding stray weapons fire and debris. As they approached the Zarkon flagship, Sarah held her breath. Would their stealth tech hold? Moments passed, feeling like an eternity. Then they were through. The shuttle slipped into a damaged hangar bay, undetected amidst the chaos of the battle outside. As Sarah and her team disembarked, they were met with an alien landscape of twisted metal and pulsing energy conduits. The interior of the Zarkon ship was like nothing they had ever seen. "Stay sharp," Sarah whispered. "We need to find their central computer core." They moved swiftly through the ship, their path guided by the AI analysis of the ship's layout. Occasionally, they encountered Zarkon crew members, but their guerrilla tactics and Earth weapons took the aliens by surprise. Finally, they reached the core. It was a massive chamber, filled with swirling energy and alien technology beyond their comprehension. But Sarah's team knew their job. They set to work, their adaptive AI interfacing with the Zarkon systems. Alarms blared as the Zarkons realized their ship had been infiltrated. Sarah knew their time was running out. "Work faster," she urged her tech experts. "We need those shields down now." Just as the sound of approaching Zarkon soldiers echoed down the corridor, a team member shouted, "We're in. Shields are dropping." Sarah immediately activated her comm. "Defiance, this is Major Chen. Fire everything you've got at these coordinates." Now, outside, the human fleet and their council allies unleashed a barrage unlike anything seen before in galactic history. Railguns, plasma torpedoes, and energy weapons of a dozen alien races, all focused on a single point. The Zarkon flagship shuddered under the assault. As the ship began to break apart around them, Sarah turned to her team. "Time to go. Move." They ran for their lives, the ship disintegrating behind them. Against all odds, they reached their shuttle and blasted free, just as the flagship exploded in a spectacular burst of light and energy. As the shockwave rippled across space, the remaining Zarkon ships fell into disarray. Without their command ship, their once unstoppable assault crumbled. On the Defiance's bridge, Captain Rodriguez watched in awe as Major Chen's shuttle returned. "She did it," he breathed. They actually did it. The tide had turned. The galaxy's greatest threat was on the verge of defeat, all thanks to the species they had once dismissed as primitive. The age of humanity had truly begun. The explosion of the Zarkon flagship sent shockwaves across the galaxy, both literally and figuratively. As the dust settled and the remaining Zarkon ships retreated or surrendered, a stunned silence fell over the battlefield. On the bridge of the Defiance, Major Sarah Chen stood tall, her uniform singed and torn, but her eyes shining with triumph. Captain Rodriguez approached her, a proud smile on his face. "Major," he said, his voice filled with respect, "I think it's safe to say that humanity has made quite an impression." Sarah nodded, her expression a mix of exhaustion and satisfaction. "We did what we had to do, Captain. For Earth and for the galaxy." As the human fleet regrouped, messages of congratulations and thanks poured in from across the Galactic Council. Ships of various alien races approached, their crews eager to meet the heroes who had turned the tide of the war. On the Council station, now battered but still standing, the mood was one of disbelief and reevaluation. High Councilor Zixnera called an emergency session of the full Council. As the members gathered, many still shell-shocked from the battle, Zixnera addressed them. "Esteemed colleagues," she began, her voice solemn, "we stand at a turning point in galactic history. Our preconceptions have been shattered, and we must now forge a new path forward." Councilor Vex's crystalline form pulsed with agreement. The humans have proven themselves beyond any doubt. Their innovative thinking and adaptability saved us all. Even Councilor Grook, once the most vocal critic of humanity, nodded grudgingly. Their weapons may be unconventional, but their effectiveness is undeniable. We owe them a great debt. The council chamber buzzed with discussion. Finally, a decision was reached. As the human leaders were invited into the chamber, a hush fell over the assembled aliens. High Councilor Zixnera stepped forward to greet Major Chen and the Earth delegation. "Majored," she said, her 4 eyes blinking in sequence, "on behalf of the Galactic Council and all the races we represent, I extend our deepest gratitude and admiration." Sarah stood tall, representing not just herself but all of humanity. "Thank you, High Counselor. We're honored to have been able to help." Zixnera continued, her voice carrying across the chamber. "In light of humanity's extraordinary service to the galaxy, the Council has made a unanimous decision. We hereby offer Earth full membership in the Galactic Council, with all the rights and responsibilities that entails." A cheer went up from the assembled aliens and humans alike. Sarah's eyes widened in surprise and joy. "High Counselor, we accept with great honor. Earth looks forward to working alongside our galactic neighbors for the betterment of all." As the formalities were concluded, the real work began. Human scientists and engineers were soon collaborating with their alien counterparts, sharing ideas and technologies. The primitive human approaches, combined with advanced alien tech, led to breakthroughs that neither side could have achieved alone. In the months that followed, the galaxy entered a new era of peace and prosperity. The Zarkon threat had been neutralized, with the survivors integrated into galactic society under close supervision. Earth's unique perspective brought fresh ideas to age-old problems, from diplomacy to technology. 1 year after the Great Battle, a ceremony was held on Earth to commemorate the victory and celebrate the planet's new role in galactic affairs. As Major Sarah Chen, now Earth's official representative to the Council, stood on a stage before a crowd of humans and aliens, she reflected on how far they had come. A year ago, she began her speech. "We were dismissed as primitives, our weapons mocked as obsolete. Today, we stand as equals among the stars, our innovation and determination recognized across the galaxy." She paused, looking out at the diverse crowd. "But our greatest strength isn't in our weapons or our technology. It's in our ability to adapt, to think differently, and to come together in the face of adversity. As we move forward into this new era, let us remember that every race, every planet, has something unique to offer. Our differences are not weaknesses, but strengths." As Sarah concluded her speech, a thunderous applause rose from the crowd. In orbit above, ships from 100 worlds twinkled in the sunlight, a testament to the new galactic order. In their hidden realm, the Watchers observed the proceedings with satisfaction. "The humans have surpassed even our expectations," one said. Another nodded. "They have brought a new vitality to the galaxy. The coming ages will be interesting indeed." And yet, the third mused, "This is but the beginning of their journey among the stars." As night fell on Earth, the sky blazed with fireworks and the lights of orbiting ships. Humanity had found its place in the cosmos, ready to face whatever new challenges the vast universe might bring. The era of human innovation in the galactic community had only just begun.